Coming up on the Q30 Newscast, the Student Government Association is taking initiative towards the mental health of student athletes at Quinnipiac.
And learn about a student who created a brand new club for artists on campus.
Plus, Quinnipiac is hosting a gubernatorial debate later this week.
All that and more on the Q30 Newscast. Good evening and welcome to the Q30 Newscast. I'm Samantha Pirelli.
And I'm Ethan Logue. We have a lot of news to get to, so let's dive right in.
The Student Government Association is attempting to open up conversation for mental health in the student-athlete community. They want to add a new position on each sport club that team that focuses on the team mental health. Q30's Vanessa Blasi has the story. Quinnipiac University Student Government Association is putting forth a new initiative for suicide awareness among student athletes.
SGA Junior Class President Matthew Mashad says the goal of this initiative is to open up a conversation about mental health for student athletes like himself.
So for me, with the rugby team, we're practicing 5 days a week. We have a game on the weekends, and it's really just a lot. You add on your schoolwork, you add on other extracurriculars, and it's a lot on your mental health.
For this initiative, Mashad plans to create a mental health-focused student ambassador position for each club sport. These ambassadors would go through an online training, be required to hold an educational event for their team, and be a constant resource for the student-athlete community.
I think it's a good idea, and I think it is. There's definitely a lot more kids here that are more stressed than I am, and I think that we need to get out there and we need to make sure that everyone's doing okay and doing well.
Mashad said this idea was inspired by Morgan's Message, which is a foundation created after a Division I college lacrosse player took her own life at age 22.
It definitely can. It could definitely weigh a toll on you. Whether it's the schoolwork aspect really piling up, or you have a stressful test coming up, or even just playing in the games you want to win, stuff like that.
Mashad hopes this initiative will be complete by the end of the semester.
The main message is really, open up that conversation, create those safe spaces, eliminate the stigma. And we aren't really a big community, so we should take advantage of it all and create those safe spaces, those comfortable spaces to really dig deep and be vulnerable and have those tough conversations about mental health.
Yeah, mental health is definitely the first priority. It should come before anything, because if you're not happy, there's no point in doing things. So definitely worth the initiative.
For Q30 News, I'm Vanessa Blasi.
This Sunday, the Student Programming Board and the WQAQ radio station announced Mark E. Basie as their headliner for their annual Fall Fest event. Fall Fest will be located on the Quad on Sunday, October 9th. The DJ and food trucks will start up at 2, and the performances will start at 3:30. They will have activities from the outdoor games to inflatables. In addition, they will also provide merchandise such as beanies, t-shirts, blankets, and much more.
This week is recruitment week for Q-thon, as the all-day dance marathon will be held on March 25th. Every day this week has a different theme. Today is Why Wednesday, a day dedicated to remembering why members of Q-thon dance. Q-thon Executive Director Michaela Bedard talks about how this year's Q-thon will differ from last year's now that COVID is becoming less of a worry.
This year's Q-thon, we're trying to get more involved in person again. So this week we actually have a registration push week. And during that week, we have different Miracle Point competitions and incentives for people to sign up and get involved.
This past Saturday, computer science and engineering students installed storm drain medallions in Hamden's Westwoods neighborhood. The medallions will raise awareness for the impact of debris entering the storm drains. Q30 Newscast executive producer Olivia Cattell spoke to a professor about how this project helps students serve the community.
This past Saturday, September 24th, students from the Computer Science and Engineering Living Learning community visited Hamden's Westwoods neighborhoods to install storm drain medallions, with the goal of informing Hamden citizens about where the stormwater eventually ends up and the effect it can have on the local community and wildlife.
The idea originated to raise awareness about the impacts that what goes down the drains can have on the Long Island Sound, or water quality and our water bodies in general. In Westwoods neighborhoods specifically, that water that comes off of the streets when it rains, picks up whatever has been put on the pavement, or if people put things down the catch basins themselves, that goes into some small streams and goes into Eaton Brook, and then it goes into the Mill River, and then it goes into New Haven Harbor, and then it goes into the Long Island Sound.
The project was a partnership between the students, the Mill River Watershed Association, and the Town of Hamden Inland Wetlands Commission. The medallions were funded through the Claire C. Bennett Watershed Fund.
The original idea for the project came when a member of, I believe, the Inland Wetlands Commission saw someone putting some things down the catch basin that really shouldn't go down the catch basin.
In addition to this initiative promoting better water quality in the community, it also provided living, learning community students with a way to serve the local area.
Community citizenship. So it's connecting students at Quinnipiac to our broader Hamden community and making that connection.
For Q30 News, I'm Olivia Cattell.
Quinnipiac has partnered with Hartford Healthcare and has announced the dates for students to receive an on-campus flu shot. The York Hill Campus Clinic will provide flu shots on Thursday, October 13th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And if you miss this date, then you still have a chance since the Mount Carmel Campus Clinic will be offering flu shots on Friday, October 21st from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yesterday, the Quinnipiac University Public Relations Society of America hosted the 4th annual #EthicsMatter event featuring leaders in strategic communications from across the region. September is also Public Relations Student Society of America's Ethics Month. Speakers included John Emra, Callie Ferrari, Sharon Jones-McCann, Andrea Kovacs, and Mark McLennan.
When you step into a professional role, you have to put yourself aside. It's not your voice anymore, it's the voice of your institution. But I think professionally, we all have to measure that against our own personal ethics. And as you're choosing a career, making sure that what you choose aligns with what you personally believe.
The Multicultural Student Leadership Council is holding their annual culture fair on Friday. It will take place on the quad, and the event will allow students, faculty, and staff to interact with the executive boards of all cultural organizations on campus. They will also have food and activities, including lawn games. The event starts at 2 and will conclude around 5. Second-year Sean Formontis started a new club called the Student Artists League. He wants to help promote art being done on campus, but more importantly, create a welcoming community for all students. Q30 Newscast executive producer Katie Cohen tells us how to get involved in this new organization.
A new organization was added to the roster this year at Quinnipiac University. Founded by Sean Formontis, the Student Artists League is a way for students to promote the creative work being done. He has had a passion for the arts his whole life and wanted to share that love with others.
I've always been involved in arts. I sing. I was very involved in my high school's music program.
And when he came to Quinnipiac, he saw all the creative potential students had, but it wasn't getting recognized. He pitched this idea as an SGA senator last year and saw it through on his own.
If you see a problem and you see something that you think, oh, I wish something was this way, I've always been that person to be like, okay, if not me, who else is going to do it?
The club is made up of 4 teams: events, PR, media, and fundraising. They all work together to connect students to artistic resources. One way they do this is through sharing opportunities happening on campus. They also want to produce digital publications and a podcast. Another hope is to partner with university departments and other organizations. But most importantly, Sean wants to create a community.
I want this to be a community first and foremost where people can develop friendships, where people can learn together, create stuff together, and basically just be student artists.
And he wants students to know this organization is for everyone.
Everyone has some ounce of creativity in them. We're all born being creative. And so I want this to be a home where people can not only hone their creative skills, but develop their creative skills and also find a community that they can get along with.
Those who are interested in the Student Artists League can get involved by going to their bi-weekly Monday meetings or getting in contact with Sean directly. For Q30 News, I'm Katie Cohen.
Great stuff, Katie. Well, it's time for our first break of the night, but don't touch that dial.
As we have updates on Connecticut's newest laws and a political news update from Mason Glod.
In addition, we have the latest on the gubernatorial debate being hosted at Quinnipiac this week.
But before we go, we have Hepzibah Rajan in the studio to give you a sneak peek into the weather. Hepzibah?
Thank you. So we saw a lot of wind these past few days. We saw rain. Today was a high of 69, a low of 47. I don't know how many of you felt that. Didn't feel it really. The wind was a lot. But Thursday and Friday, we will see a couple of highs of 60s. Lows will stay at 48 and 43. We have the entire week coming up for you right after this break.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. It's here. It's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Jules, spotlight on this last one. There it is. Keep going with it. Leo.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Welcome back. We appreciate you sticking with us. Tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning, Quinnipiac will be hosting the first of two gubernatorial debates between Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont and his opposition, Bob Stefanowski. The debate will be held at the Quinnipiac North Haven campus. Debate topics will include the state budget, taxes, and transportation.
If a student lives from New Jersey or Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and can't vote in this race, I think it'll do them all good just to go and see politics in action, see what their civic responsibility will be as they get older. And they can get into the habit of attending these in their home states so they can make informed choices.
The state of Connecticut released its annual crime report for the 2021 calendar year this past week. And compared to 2020, there is a general decrease in crime of 3%. The most notable decrease is burglary, which is down 71% from 2020, followed by arson, which is down 28%, and aggravated assault, which is down 16%. A notable increase in crime in Connecticut is rape, which rose by 23%, with nearly 150 more victims coming forward. The report also found that overall crime has dropped 30% in Connecticut in the last decade.
Several new laws are going into effect in the state of Connecticut on October 1st. The Connecticut Higher Education Supplemental Loan Authority will provide financial assistance to parents and students who are pursuing higher education. Students can also receive grants and scholarships through this new law. In addition, the month of October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Another new Connecticut law is being established to protect online dating and domestic violence victims. It will require dating service platforms to inform new users with safety awareness notifications before they're able to use the service. Additionally, it will protect someone's identity as a victim of domestic violence when it comes to the hiring process, public accommodations, housing, or credit applications.
There are also several initiatives to transition the state to clean transportation, including grant programs that will go towards zero-emission trucks and school buses, ensuring that all buses will have transitioned to clean energy by January 1st of 2030. Additionally, June 19th will be designated as Juneteenth Independence Day, a new state holiday.
Moving forward, we have Mason Glod in the studio to give you a political update. Mason, what do you have for us?
Thanks, Samantha and Ethan. On Tuesday, a conservative legal group filed a lawsuit to block the Biden administration from canceling large amounts of federal student debt. The Pacific Legal Foundation, with plaintiff Frank Garrison, is claiming that Biden's administration's actions constitute an illegal abuse of authority. Garrison claims that he will be worse off with Biden's plan due to state income tax rules. In response to the lawsuit, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre accused opponents of the plan of, quote, trying to stop it because they know it will provide much-needed relief for working families, end quote. While this is the first obstacle for Biden's plan, the administration anticipates many more speed bumps along the way. Next up, on Tuesday, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin agreed to remove his energy initiative from the Senate spending bill. With this announcement, the funding bill passed in the Senate with a 72-23 vote, preventing a possible government shutdown on Friday night. Manchin agreed to remove the energy provision from the bill, telling Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, quote, "We should never come to the brink of a government shutdown over politics," end quote. Manchin hopes to move forward with this issue at a later date. The final bill includes $12.3 billion in assistance to Ukraine, but excludes the White House's call for funds to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic and the monkeypox outbreak. Finally, this week, the Biden administration launched a new strategy to end hunger in the U.S. by 2030. The plan intends to cut the number of households experiencing hunger from 4% to under 1% by the deadline. To do this, the plan involves increasing access to healthy food, reforming food packaging, and expanding access to obesity counseling and nutrition. The plan also calls for expanding research on climate reform and its effect on the food crisis. The White House also hosted a conference on hunger, nutrition, and health today. That's all I have for politics this week. Back to you, Samantha and Ethan.
As always, great job, Mason. Well, we're going to step away for our second break of the night.
But stick with us as Hepzibah will provide the full 7-day forecast as well as temperatures around the state.
And Haley Wynn will be in studio to provide your national news update.
We'll be right back.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie. Nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Welcome back to the Studio 125, and thank you for sticking with us.
We are joined by Q30 Web Director Hepzibah Rajan, who's here to let us know how this week is going to look. What do you have for us, Hepzibah?
Thank you, guys. I have, like I said, right before the break, we have a high of 60s that were at the beginning of the week. We had a low of mid to upper 40s, and when we look after the weekend and the weekend, you guys will see some rain just like the rest of the week before. Saturday and Sunday is looking rainy right now. We have 61 and 62 on Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday and Tuesday we'll see the same temperatures, almost the same lows. So, you know, keep those raincoats on still. Going to our Connecticut state and looking at temperatures around the state, we have Torrington and Hartford. Not that close, but Torrington is looking a little bit colder than the south. Danbury is at 62, New Haven at 59. We have New London a little hotter, just not that much, at 60. Norwich being at 56, the coldest in the state right now. But that's all I have for news this. My apologies. That's all I have for weather this week. Back to you guys at the desk.
There's a new course in the graphic design department. This course allows students to travel to Italy to study design, film, fashion, and art. The cost of the trip is $4,000, and the travel dates are from March 10th through March 19th. The program is accepting 14 students total, and the applications are due October 15th. Professor Callahan expresses her excitement to take students to reflect and learn in places like Milan, Florence, and Rome.
It is now time for our national news update. So much has been going on around the country this week, especially in preparation for Hurricane Ian, which is now taking Florida by storm. Joining us live in studio with the latest is Haley Wynn. What do you have for us, Haley?
Thanks, Ethan and Samantha. Now for this week's national news. Let's talk Hurricane Ian. Florida has been preparing and in the course of chaos the past few days as Hurricane Ian has taken over. Florida schools have been shut down. Residents in Matinee County, Florida are being asked not to use their water as sewage issues are arising. Disney World parks are temporarily closed, and in addition, there is talk about switching up sports schedules. However, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are still set up to play Sunday night against the Kansas City Chiefs. In other news, a New Haven family is fighting for justice. There is a federal lawsuit in the making. Randy Cox, a 36-year-old male, is left paralyzed from the chest down after he was in police custody. Cox was being taken to a detention center when his life would forever be changed. The van he was in did not have a seatbelt. The vehicle came to a quick stop. Cox was in handcuffs and fell forward. The event is on camera. Cox is now facing many injuries. The Cox family is suing for negligence and more. They're asking for $100 million. Airports globally have seen a rise in angry crew members. United and Southwest airline employees are very frustrated with scheduling issues. Just the other day, around 15 airports were met with protests. There were employees protesting their contract. Union members are fed up with staffing. They are overworked and underpaid. They also would like to see improvements with wait times. Thanks. That's all for me today. Back to you at the desk, Ethan and Samantha.
Great job there, Haley. And we are headed to our last break of the night, but we still have so much news to cover.
Fiona Stevens is here in the studio to give us the latest entertainment news.
And we can't forget about the sports report from Keith Savage.
Stick with us.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Drew, spot on this last one. There it is. Keep going with it. Leo.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
And just like that, we're back with our last stories for the night. Ethan, there's always a lot going on in entertainment.
That's right, Samantha. It's a good thing we have Fiona Stevens in the studio to tell us what's new. Fiona, what's going on in the entertainment world?
Well, Sam and Ethan, the entertainment industry is always moving, so let's get right into it. I'm Fiona Stevens, and this is your entertainment report. American rapper and artist Megan Thee Stallion launched a mental health resource website to help to support her fans through their struggles. Stallion has battled her own mental health problems following the death of her parents, an alleged shooting, the pandemic, and understood the power of reaching out for help. She says, quote, "You know how much mental wellness means to me, so I created a hub with resources that can help when you might need a hand," unquote. The website includes resources for Black youth, LGBTQ community, Native Americans, and transgender individuals. The 2009 action-packed science fiction film Avatar has been re-released in theaters for a 2-week engagement. Since its premiere on Friday, September 23rd, the film has grossed over $11,503,106. The original Avatar is the top-grossing film of all time, with more than $2.8 billion in global ticket sales. The film has been remastered for 4K HD theaters and has been hyping up for the release of its sequel, Avatar: The Way of Water, which is expected to come out in December of this year. Director James Cameron announced The Way of Water 10 years ago, and fans are excited to see the new underwater world of the Na'vi. Lizzo performed in Washington, D.C. last night and played President James Madison's crystal flute on loan from the Library of Congress. The flute was made in 1813 and gifted to President Madison by a French fluter in celebration of his second term. At the concert, Lizzo said, quote, "It's like playing out of a wine glass." Lizzo visited the Library of Congress earlier that day to view their collection of over 1,800 flutes at the invitation of Carla Hayden, the head librarian. Lizzo has been sharing her excitement and gratitude on Twitter. Well, that's all the entertainment news I have for you. I'm Fiona Stevens. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Fiona. I don't know about you, Samantha, but I cannot wait for that new Avatar movie.
Well, I haven't exactly seen the first one, so I'm not too sure about the second one.
That's surprising here, especially as we heard Fiona just mention it's the highest grossing movie of all time. Well, now moving on, it's now time for my favorite part of the Q30 newscast, the sports report. Keith Savage joins us live with the latest in QU athletics. What do you have for us, Keith?
Thank you, Samantha and Ethan. Let's get right into sports. The field hockey team finished off a week-long 3-game homestand on Sunday. Beckham Maine squadron 1-2 with the lone win coming against UC Davis. Quinnipiac won the game 3-2 after the team only converted one of their 15 penalty corners in the victory over the Aggies. The Bobcats fell to 0-2 against conference opponents after a 6-1 loss to Old Dominion. To close out the 3-game homestand, the Towson Tigers left-handed on Sunday with a 4-1 win. Bobcats will be away on Friday when the team faces off against reigning Big East champions Liberty. On to ice hockey, where the women's team started the season in Maine. Quinnipiac finished 2-0 this weekend against the Maine Black Bears. Their first match was Friday, and the game came down to the wire. Junior forward Olivia Mobley scored the game-winning goal in overtime for the Bobcats' 3-2 victory. Less than 24 hours later, the team defeated the Black Bears again in a shutout 3-0 win. Junior goalkeeper Katie Boudier recorded her first win since the 2020-2021 season. The Bobcats will look to extend their win streak this weekend as the team will host the Boston College Eagles and the New Hampshire Wildcats. The volleyball team had their first conference win on Saturday. Kyle Robinson's unit defeated the Siena Saints 3-2. After the Bobcats were up by 2, the Saints managed to make the game come to the final set. But Quinnipiac managed to squeak by in that last set 15-13. The next day, the Bobcats lost 3-0 to the Marist Red Foxes and are now 1-3 in MAC play. The Bobcats go against the Fairfield Stags on Saturday before Quinnipiac has their first home game of the season next Wednesday night against the Red Foxes. That's all I have for sports. Back to you guys on the desk.
Thank you, Keith. And for our last story of the night, Q30's associate producer, Tim Malone, has the exclusive on Drazen's Orchards. Let's check it out.
Eli Drazen and his crew are getting ready for the influx of customers to come his way as one of fall's biggest traditions approaches, apple picking. Drazen Orchards has been in Cheshire, Connecticut since 1951. The property was first purchased by Eli's grandfather and has been local and family-owned ever since.
Go over everything with each customer when they come in. We give them a picking bucket, and then we direct them out to the orchard. We just don't send them out cold. We have a whole guide that explains, where everything is. All the rows are numbered, and we have like a yellow boundary line to help guide people to get to the fruit. And we do that so they can get to the best fruit and not pick the wrong thing, hopefully.
Eli is very optimistic for this season's pickings because of the conditions. He believes that it's created a perfect combination to produce some great fruit.
We had a horrendous drought this summer, so we were able to irrigate, so we have beautiful, beautiful fruit, and all the sunshine that we got made for some really, really sweet fruit. And I would say almost probably the best tasting fruit that I think we've ever produced here.
Anyone interested in apple picking or other locally produced farm fresh goods should look up Drazen Orchards in Cheshire, Connecticut. For Q30 News, I'm Tim Malone.
Tim Malone killing the game as always. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's newscast. Be sure to keep up with all our content on Q30TV.com or download the Q30 TV app.
And follow us on Twitter at Q30 News for all the Quinnipiac updates. I'm Samantha Pirelli.
And I'm Ethan Logue.
For the producers and everyone behind the scenes, thank you and good night, Bobcats.